and I'll respond.
me. Okay.
And then you respond with that.
Gary Community School Board meeting for November 2024. I'd like to call this meeting to an order. We will have this first part of the meeting is the public hearing, after which we will have our regular meeting where we'll stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, but we will open up the public hearing at this time. Mrs. Zaborowski, please.
Good evening, Gary Community School Board, Dr. Stokes, and community members. Each year, when we create the budget, we create the budget based on the information we have at that time. So a lot of times things change throughout the year, so to speak. We have increased ADM, things like that. So what happens is we may have extra transportation costs, things like that. We may hire additional support staff. So what this resolution does is me requesting the school board and the Department of Local Government to request additional appropriations for the operations fund for mostly transportation costs. And then the education fund, a small amount just based on our additional hirings this year because our ADM did jump up. And what I'm requesting is that we request this approved amount, but this does not necessarily mean that we are going to spend this full amount. This is just so I have these available funds in case of anything. And what we have to do in order for this to go through, not only do I have to request the school board to approve this, I also have to request approval from the Department of Local Government. So if the school board approves this, then I would go to them just to request the funds to be available for any additional needs that the district may need. So now I think we'd like to open it up to public comment.
Thank you. At this point, if there's anyone who would like to speak on this subject during the public hearing, the floor is open.
Good afternoon, Dr. Stokes, school board, and members in the audience. My name is Robert Buggs, and I would just like to know if a new pool for Westside School is incorporated in the budget. I know there was some talk about it early on, but is it in the budget? Because that is one thing that should be in the budget. There was money that was appropriated for it several years ago. So I don't know what happened to the money, but I want to know if it is in this budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for your patience while I walked up here. It takes me a while now. I am a little, I wish we had had a more full explanation of why we're making this transfer. It sounds like part of it is the ADM, we're receiving additional funds, and because of that, now we have additional funds to transfer over to operations. A couple of the things I wonder about though, because and obviously I think what needs to be clarified too is that this is the 24, not, oh wait, no. So this is 24, 25. So this is the budget we just approved. And we need the additional appropriation now. I mean, if I have to ask silly questions, maybe it's because it's just not clear. No, that would have been 25, 26. I don't know. No, wait, we're on fiscal year. Never mind. That would have just been 25. So I feel like we need some clarification, especially because we're almost done with 24, about why we're transferring these funds, what they're gonna be used for, aside from just we had more money suddenly with ADM. And also, when do we expect those dollars to be paid out? And how do we expect this to affect next year? And is this a thing that we're really doing for next year or for this year? And if I recall correctly, for 24 even, I'd be very curious to know, are we held to the same cap in terms of, I think it's 15% between those two funds? And have we already exhausted that? Or are we trying to say, because last year we were under control, or some part of last year we were under control, when that was signed, that now we get to do something additional beyond that because we were under distress status? And I'm very concerned about this. I also wonder if it's gonna come up at the DUAP meeting tomorrow. I doubt it, but I guess it's possible. So if we could have some clarity about this, because it feels very last minute, and I don't even remember anything about this at the last meeting, but even if there had been, it would have been good for it to be presented before this was then presented for public comment for people who weren't here last time. Thank you.
I'd like to take this opportunity, Linda, if you share a little bit, please.
Hello. Just to address some of the questions that were just asked. This is part of the 2024 budget. This is not the new budget that was approved. This was presented at the last board meeting. We talked about it. It's also been publicly noticed in the paper too. This is one of the requirements that the Department of Local Government requires us to do. And what these costs are is transportation. We had to add additional fleets to our district, and the cost for that, because we pick up students from their corners. So this requires a lot of buses back and forth. So that is why, and this does not mean that I'm going to spend that $3.5 million. This just allows me to have the available funds when I need to.
Board members, any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, please.
do you have information about the pool that was reported out on a few board meetings ago?
Can I have Mrs. Wright come up, and if she can recall, if you all recall, she shared information, if you can come up for just a moment. And I know we're putting you kind of on the spot, but if you can kind of reiterate some of what you shared about the pool.
Thank you, Dr. Stokes.
Good evening, board and community, and Dr. Stokes. On October 9th, I did a presentation on the pool, and what I said was that I forgot the years, but it was approximately $1.5 million were allocated to repair the pool. After the district conducted its investigation, it would cost more than $1.5 million to repair the pool. So before our administration, the funds were diverted to the west side bathrooms, and the west side bathrooms are now being renovated with the $1.5 million. We also did a little investigation on the cost of a new pool for Gary West Side, and I believe that amount was approximately $40 million. Also, it was determined in that investigation when we with a prior management company conducted the investigation, it was that all the pipes underneath the pool and part of the west side of the building pipes would need to be repaired. So that's a huge project, that if we had $40 million to complete that project, that we would pretty much have to shut down half of the school and relocate the kids to another area to have the students located in West Side.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Stokes.
Thank you all.
So I request that the school board approve resolution number 5.
Thank you, Linda. I just want to make sure there's opportunity if anyone else wants to make a comment. Seeing that there's no other comments, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Mr. Suggs,
Yes.
Dr. Woods,
Yes.
Dr. McLeod, yes. Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
is Attorney Irving,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, we have 5 yes.
With a vote of 5 yes and 0 opposition, the motion carries.
Thank you.
At this point, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Second. It's been moved and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to call the meeting, the regular school board meeting to order. May we stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have roll call to confirm quorum for the regular scheduled meeting?
Yes, sir. Mr. Suggs?
Yes.
Dr. Woods?
Yes.
Attorney Irving?
Yeah.
Dr. McLeod, yes. Mr. Johnson?
Present.
All present.
With a roll call vote of 5 present, 0 absent, we have a legal meeting. Let's conduct the business of the school corporation. I'd like to move to item number 2 on the agenda, public comments. Excuse me, I put in, entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda for tonight.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, let's open up for Gary Petty snapshot. Thank you.
Good evening, school board, Dr. Stokes, and our community who has joined us today in person and virtually. It is always a pleasure to present to you Gary Snapshots. Gary Snapshots is the portion of the school board meeting where we highlight positive activities taking place across the district. Today's highlights feature STEM. Pictured, you will see our principal from Beveridge Elementary, Dr. Tanisha Banks. She recently accepted an award in STEM for being a great community partner from the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Also, 3 of our elementary schools, Williams, Banneker at Marquette, and McCullough, joined forces to celebrate International STEM Day on this past Friday. Some of the activities included the exploration of neuroscience careers, the Test Your Brain Power, they had guest speakers, and hands-on activities.
Today we're learning about brains. I learned that brain is on the whole. I learned that brain is 3 halves. I learned that brain I learned that rain caught a lot, lots of memories, even all of.
And that's a little snapshot of our scholars talking about what they learned regarding brains. As many of you know, STEM is a great emphasis, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. If you see the A, then that's the arts when we talk STEAM, something that we will continue to emphasize across the district. That concludes the snapshots. I'd now like to invite my colleague and friend, Colonel Richard Ligon, for a special flag presentation in honor of Veterans Day.
Good afternoon, school board, Dr. Stokes, community. We had a Veterans Day ceremony on Monday, and to me, it touched me. But not only that, this is a day that our students get involved, our faculty get involved, and we present this to the community. This is our third annual, and this one was really, I thought it really just, it shook a lot of us. So at this time, the first thing I'd like to do is treat Dr. Stokes to dinner, because she's still in national anthem. All the veterans and gentlemen and veteran spouses, please stand. On behalf of the staff, the students, and the veterans in this community and Post 270, we would like to present this flag to you and the Gary Community School Corporation for an outstanding job in supporting our veterans and special mentoring, and you really touched some hearts. So that national anthem, we may have to have you sing that again. Thank you so much. And for people that wasn't there, they actually showed you what each fold of the flag meant. And the sixth fold of the flag is the pledge of allegiance to the flag. So that's something. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Colonel Ligon, for that presentation. Item number 4 on our agenda is the public comments. At this point, I'd like to invite Linda Collins up.
That is totally not fair for me to come up and Colonel Ligon. Wow, that was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. I just love each and every one of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay? But anyway, greetings, every single one of you that are here today. I just wanted to come forth just to encourage you to continue to do the great job that you're doing. And I learned the motto. I appreciate you doing what's best for our children today, tomorrow, and every day. And I encourage all of those in the listening audience, those that are virtual, to get involved. You know, get involved with your children. You know, get involved with PTA and these sort of things. And it was such a blessing, so beautiful to see these young folks. And I want to applaud and Dr. Banks, Tanisha as I call her, I've known her for many years. She spent many nights in my house, you know, with my daughter. And it's amazing to see these young folks develop and to grow and to become, you know, productive citizens of society. And that is just absolutely awesome. So all of the parents, all of you caregivers, give yourselves a hand of applause, please. I appreciate you. There's some of you sitting here today that know my daughter and that are friends with her, and I'm just so grateful and humble to all of you. And lastly, I'd like to say congrats to Miss Whittington. I just appreciate you. You're doing an awesome job. You're a great, great person for the job that you've been elevated to take. You know, all of you, it's a great undertaking, you know, to do public service. You know, and it's not easy. So know that you are very much appreciated. And I say that from my heart without hesitation. I do appreciate the time afforded me. And before we leave today, I'd like to be a blessing for you. I have a little gift bag, a little something in it for you. And I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you.
Mrs. Tyndall.
Good afternoon to the board, to the superintendent, to our community, our concerned citizens. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I have several concerns. I'm wondering what the status of the dispatcher training is that was mentioned last year, what the training of the horticulture teacher is that was mentioned last year. I want to know, where is the yearbook? What is the status of the yearbook for the graduating class of 24? On October 3rd, following our board meeting, I asked the Westside principal how I could secure a copy of the book, of the yearbook for this past graduating class, and he told me that it had not been completed, that there had been an issue with lighting that was experienced by the photographer. If you recall, there was a problem with the previous year's yearbook, something having to do with an accident being incurred by the photographer. I don't know what the status of that book is, but I'm wondering, with there being no yearbook, what's the reason for that? Why hasn't that been resolved? We are in the month of November, and the graduation took place, I believe, June 4th. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to make sure, we being our administration of our school system, are we trying to make sure that there is no local, tangible evidence of existence of our students? Are we trying to make sure there are no records, tangible records for our students by way of there being an absence of pictures, absence of game scores? What's going on? As far as and may I say openly to Mrs. Whittington, congratulations again. My question is, where was the position that she now holds? Where was that posted? And how are persons in our community made aware of such positions that pay such lucrative wages? Wow. Where? Tell me where. Tell me the process. Tell us the process. Regarding we were looking at, or we had the experience of representatives from Edgewater coming before us, trying to sell our board on hiring Edgewater for the clinical institution in our school. My understanding is that there's a conflict of interest if we've got a board member from Edgewater and we've got a person or an agency that is proposing a contract for services from Edgewater. That's a conflict of interest. As for the questions about behavioral healthcare, we know there's a dire need. We need to address it. we need to address it fairly and
Thank you.
professionally. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Dr. Spangler.
Could have sworn there were more people on that list before me. Dr. Michaela Spangenberg again, Gary Education Coalition. I hope we can make the sign-in sheet less confusing, because it is. Like, I've had a couple of folks come to me over a couple of meetings now and say, I didn't even know what that was, I didn't know what all the check boxes were, I didn't understand it, so I didn't sign up, then I couldn't speak. If we can just make things a little bit more user-friendly, that'd be excellent, thank you. To speak to a community concern I heard recently, there's this concern that the federal Department of Education is gonna go away. With that, some people become concerned about book bans and removing curriculum from our schools. I know a lot of people have been asking, what do our schools have in place to protect us from that? Another thing, I did go back and look at the board docs for the last meeting. I still, for the life of me, cannot find. It could have been presented, and there's no evidence of it anywhere there in terms of the thing that we looked at tonight. But in any case, I do think it's a really good idea to review something and the reasons for it before we do it and just jump in, because it's very disorienting. I'm glad to see we're having a listening session on November 18th. I hope that gets publicized. I hope that people come out to it. And additionally, I am very curious about whether we can just get a presentation, an overview, a report, something on the website that lets us know in a very concrete and understandable way what health services are in the schools now, who they're being provided by, what services students at different schools can access, what are the unmet needs, and how all these proposals that we keep seeing are going to address those. Because I think that we have part of the information here, part of the information there, but we don't have a foundational knowledge in the community, and we need to. Whether it's parents, students, whoever it is, I don't think I could go to any just random person in the community and ask 10 people and even get 5 of them who can tell me, yes, at my school, this is what my kid has access to. And I do think that we need to understand who's paying for those too and why. So if that could be addressed, that'd be wonderful. There's a DUAB meeting tomorrow. Please attend virtually if you can. Has to do with stuff in the past. Thank you.
Mr. Bugs.
Good evening again. The last time I was up there, I think somebody prayed that my voice was leaving. Because when I got back in the car, my voice came back. But in any event, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. Now, I was at the meeting when Dr. Stokes mentioned the possibility of a standalone pool. Now, when I was the school board president, the money that was set aside in House Bill 1065 and opera money was for to replace a pool. So I'm sort of concerned that it went from $1 million to replace it to $40 million. That's a lot of money. But it was not for repairs. That's what we were told anyway. They just want to build a new pool because that pool had been inoperable for a number of years. The other thing is a lot of citizens here tonight, and some of them asked me after the meeting. So I wish someone would clarify for them, will there be a need for a referendum in the next few years? I think they should know that now. Y'all have been very transparent, and I appreciate that. But the citizens would like to know. I try to get some of them to come up to talk, but they don't want to talk. But after the meeting, they asked me, "Well, are they going to have a referendum?" I don't know, but they are not. So if someone could please clarify that, put that to sleep. And the pool, $40 million, that's almost safe to build a brand new school. But I would like to see, if it's possible, to have a standalone pool without messing with those other pipes and everything like that, if it's possible. Because they do need a pool at West Side School. And also, the pool at the Y that's reopened is not a regulation-sized pool. So if we're gonna have children that's gonna be swimming and represent the city of Gary, they should have the state-of-the-art equipment to do so. Also, it has been suggested that I think do we have a golf curriculum, extracurricular activity? Because I know a lot of junior high students that are interested in golf. One of them being one of the guys that I'm mentoring, he wants to learn how to play golf. I don't know how to play golf, so if somebody knows how, and if they do have that program, then please let me know. But please, let the people know if we're going to need to have another referendum within the next 2 or 3 years. Thank you.
I apologize in advance. There's a name that I'm not quite sure of the last name. The first name appears to be Shelley.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fisher.
Good evening, school board and Dr. Stokes, and to the community. I would just like to share an article that appeared in Educational Leadership in the October edition. The article talked about teaching up, and oftentimes children in the inner city are labeled as disadvantaged or at risk. And this article was rather refreshing in that it talked about teaching up rather than dumbing down. If you were to plan, you would use the smartest child in your class, and you would prepare your curriculum in that order, or you would use a gifted curriculum and you would teach the children. This has been tried in California, in the San Diego area. They had 35 ethnicities, and this was very successful. And then I just like to say, with everything that's going on in our government and the threat of eliminating a Department of Education, we're going to have to be creative, and as a community, the organizations, we're all going to have to be involved. But I thought the article was hopeful and refreshing. They did a professional development called The Pedagogy of Confidence. All the teachers received that professional development, and then they went from there. Thank you.
Let's move on to item number 5 on our agenda, consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda items 5.1 through 5.6.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Items 5.1 through 5.6. Any discussion on these items? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval?
Mr. Suggs,
Yes.
Dr. Woods,
Yes.
Attorney Irving,
Yeah.
Dr. McLeod, yes. Mr. Johnson, yes. He did say yes.
With a vote of 5 yes and no opposition, the motion carries. Item 6, action item 6.1, Mrs. Trotter.
Good evening, Dr. Socks,
and Dr. Stokes and members of the board and the community, Judith Meek from the Alumni Association and other alumni, greetings. My name is Eunice Trotter, and I am Director of Indiana Landmarks Black Heritage Preservation Program. So I'm going to try to work this clicker here. Indiana Landmarks is the largest private statewide organization doing the preservation of historic sites statewide. In 2022, 2 years ago, the program organized the Black Heritage Preservation Program, and I'm director of that program. My job is to go statewide to identify, document, and preserve Black heritage sites. I have a grant program, and we do many other things. And I want to quickly go through some of our projects. We have saved School 56 in Indianapolis. It's a historically Black school in a Black community, and it's a D.A. Boland Architectural Design School. It was going to be demolished. We are working with developers now for reuse of that site. This church in Marion, Indiana was designed by a Black architect, Samuel Plato. It was about to be demolished. We have put on a new roof. We're working on getting a new stained glass window. We're going to be doing some painting. These are all significant sites, and I'm showing you two Black heritage. This is a building in South Bend. It was a recreational building in South Bend that was used by South Bend residents when they didn't have another place to use. We're working on it. Now, we are just beginning to do capital projects in Gary. As you all are well aware, Gary has been pretty much a stepchild when it comes to investment in capital projects. We've done several things. You'll see them listed here. I won't read them all. You can see them. But most important here is the last one on this list. We, for the last 2 years, have worked to begin doing some restorative and preservation work with Gary Roosevelt High School, the site. We have been able to get it on the National Trust for Historic Places 11 Most Endangered list, and that list focuses a lot of national attention on that site and on Gary. There was a PBS broadcast about it and some other work we're doing. So what it does is it attracts people interested in seeing development here in Gary. This is an artist's rendering of the school. This is a rendering, but you see that our focus is to maintain the integrity of buildings, and with any kind of restorative project, that building's integrity will be maintained. So we are here today to ask for your support and approval of a memo of understanding. This memo of understanding would allow Indiana Landmarks and a team of people to come into the school and do the content management tasks. The school is full of content. I call it the day the earth stood still almost when people got up, and all of these things are still in the school. We also want to begin community engagement. Community engagement would allow the community to weigh in on what is best for that site, what is needed in Midtown, what do the citizens of Gary want for that school. And then we want to do an inventory. We know that there has been content already removed from the school, and it's everywhere. The DeSable Museum, some very expensive art, and just other things, and I don't think anyone really knows where all of these things have gone. So we want to do an inventory of that. And I've got a couple quick pictures here to show you some of the interior of the school site. And this is the kind of content that we want to manage. And I apologize for the quality of the photo. These were images taken from a video. We did do video archiving of all the rooms that we could get into so that we know what we're working with. So this is the kind of stuff that's still there. You know, those computers and all that hardware is ancient now. Hundreds and hundreds of books, all kinds of things. So this is what we are proposing, that we would provide a project manager to help organize our task force that will do the planning for the content removal. All of that content is regulated by different laws. We are including on that task force a representative from the State Archives, from IU Northwest Archives, from the Historical Society, from the State Museum, and on and on and on. So we have a big team that will be led by Robert Cunningham, who's a very experienced project manager, and he's here from the region. We also will need to do air quality testing to make sure that people who are going to go into that school are going to become ill as a result of the environment there. And these other items that you see here on the list. That will cost us about $30 grand that Indiana Landmarks will pay for. So at this point, I'd like to be open for any questions about the work that we want to do. We want to get started quickly because that building cannot continue to take what it has taken as a result of the weather, the elements, and breakdowns in some of the infrastructure of the building. We hope to get started right away doing the planning. We are going to be working closely with the school corporation and the city. In each step, there will be representation from those stakeholders as well as others in the community.
Ms. Trotter, I'm going to ask my team, Mrs. O'Brien, if you can go back to that first slide
I'll take
that showed the MOU.
Okay. Oh, I didn't see the MOU then, right? I know. Oh,
You might just want to speak about the MOU just for a moment.
okay. The MOU has been very much examined and scrutinized by all the stakeholders. It would be between the city of Cary, the school corporation, and the school board that would allow us to do those things that I summarized through the content.
Can I interject why? The reason it's between all of those three entities is because the school, we actually own the building and the property that it sits on. However, the city owns the tennis courts and the basketball, and that's why we're all a part of it.
Yes. Thank you. Are there any questions from anyone? We're really excited about this project. I see Cary with so much potential, and I've been at this for 2 years now to get to this point. My late husband would say I was a dog with a bone because I'm not going to give up on making sure that this school is preserved, its history is preserved, and it remains an icon of Black excellence here in Cary.
Thank you, Mrs. Trotter, for your presentation. At this point, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Chairman, I will make that motion.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Mr. Suggs,
Yes.
Dr. Woods. Dr. Woods.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, reading here.
Attorney Irving,
Yeah.
Dr. McLeod, yes. Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
5 yes.
With a vote of 5 yes and 0 opposition, the motion carries. The MOU will be signed by the board. I'd like to move to item 6.2. Mrs. Zabrowski, please.
Good evening again. In 2023-2024 school year, Governor Holcomb put into legislation House Enrolled Act 1001. And what this meant was that public schools could not charge parents textbook rental fees. So everybody prior to this had established a textbook rental fund. This textbook rental fund housed fees from the parents. Also, we paid curricular materials out of this fund. So everything was kind of housed in that one fund. What we're doing now, since this, we have until December 31st to close this fund and transfer the funds into the education fund. These funds will still be earmarked for student curricular material and supplies. So this resolution, I'm requesting the board approve that I transfer these funds, these excess funds, into the education fund before the end of the year.
Any questions from members of the board?
How much is, Mr. Chair, how much is transfer? How much money is there about?
It's about $2 million.
And the monies will be available to continue to
To
provide.
support students, curriculum, materials, anything that the students need, Chromebooks, iPads.
Thank you,
Sure.
Mr. Chair.
Any other questions? Seeing no other questions, may I have a motion?
Yes, a motion quickly, yes.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we recommend approval of textbook rental money from the education fund. Is there any discussion?
From the textbook rental fund to the education.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hearing no discussion, may I have roll call for approval, please?
Mr. Suggs,
Yes.
Dr. Woods.
Yes.
Attorney Irving,
Yeah.
Dr. McLeod, Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
5 yes.
With a vote of 5 yes and 0 opposition, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Let's move to item 6.3. Mr. White.
Good afternoon, Garrett Community School Board of Trustees, and Dr. Stokes and Garrett Community. I'm here, I want to show you a diagram. This is our network right now. And our network is consisting of 2 end egress points, as we say. We don't have that. Up at the top, here we go. At the top, you see the top 2 schools up here. That's Williams and point there. You see it? There we go. All right, this is Williams and Glen Park and Williams School. This is our egress point. This is where all our network, all our internet comes in to feed the rest of the school system. What we're going to propose is that we just have one. In the past 3 years, we have rebuilt the infrastructure of every school. We used to have a box in every other classroom. We have closets where our network is sitting now. And so we're going to propose that we have one egress point. And so every 5 years, our contract is up with E-rate. And E-rate is the mandated funding that Congress made in 1996. The FCC approved it in 1997. And so any funds that we use from E-rate, they will pay 90% and we pay 10% to have our infrastructure redid. I'm coming to you today to ask that we do a request for proposal, which is RFP, and that we build a lit fiber network. And if you don't know what that is, I'm quite sure Mr. Robinson does, but the lit fiber network is a managed network that we will have a company help us manage. All we will need is a couple of Cisco certified engineers to help do the routing and protocol for that. This lit fiber network is, we need to have it built by the 25 school year. Right now we're leasing internet service from ENA, and we have 1 more year leasing, and then we won't have any internet service. So the best thing for us to do is start the building it now if we can. If you do agree with this, we will put out an RFP through the E-rate Federal National website, and it'll be on our site. And if you agree, we'll put it out tomorrow, November the 14th. December the 3rd will be the date that all vendors will question, if they have questions. By 10 a.m., they have to have all their questions in by December the 3rd. By December the 19th at 10 a.m., we'll close all bidding and we'll start the bidding process. Now, I want everyone to be aware, this process, when we have to do it. eventually. You don't have to do it. And so this will be a 1.5 to $2 million project. We'll pay 10% of that. Any questions?
I have a question. So the speeds that you have documented up here, are these current speeds or are those proposed speeds? Right now at this present time, all our elementary schools, the 5 elementary schools, they have 2 gigs on in each school. What we're proposing in the E-rate contract, that whatever company bid, they build a network where we can go 1, 2, 5, and 7 in each school. With 1, 2, 5, and 10 in each school. The end school, which would be Williams, we want it to take from 10 to 100 gigs. And the fiber,
we will
using existing fiber that has
no, it was all right. The handoff, whoever comes in to do, all right, we have fiber coming in the building, all but one building. That's building ground and maintenance. We're still in copper, which the superintendent is making arrangements where we're going to try to get fiber in that next. But all the handoffs will be fiber, yes.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Seeing no additional questions, I'll entertain a motion to allow a request for a proposal for the wide area network.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we can get that proposal out, the request for proposal out today.
So it's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, may I have roll call for approval, please?
Mr. Suggs?
Yes.
Dr. Woods?
Yes.
Attorney Irving?
Yes.
Dr. McLeod? Yes. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
5 yes.
With a vote of 5 yes and 0 opposition, the motion passed for RFP for the wide area network. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving to item 6.4, the second reading for the Gary Community Schools community relations templates, 9,000.
All right, thank you so much. This is our second reading. We actually have 3 different series. So we have the 9,000s, we have the 8,000s, and we also have the 7,000s. The 9,000s, of course, deals with what we call the relations. And in that particular template, if you look here, you see various things. One of the ones that I would like to highlight is policy 9150, which deals with school visitors. And I basically just wanted to highlight that particular one because I want to make sure that our community knows that you are welcome in our schools. However, we do have to have policies and procedures to support not only the safety and the curricular needs of our students, but also the safety of our visitors. So anytime you go into a building, please make sure that 1, you understand our board policy, and 2, that you know we have sign-in sheets for you. So that we know you're there. If we ever had a fire, we wouldn't want to miss you. We want to know that you are in our building. So if we can move on then to the next, which is the 7,000s. The 7,000s deal with property. And just as they say, property deals with a whole lot of things. For example, gifts, grants, and things that are requested to us is actually considered property. So when you start looking at the property, you will find other things like hygiene management and some of our safety standards and things that deal with like facility security, the various programs we have for safety. So I just want you to be aware that under property, we also talk about cell phones and how they are allowed in our school buildings. If we then can move on to our last series tonight, which is the 8,000s, which deals with operations. And basically, as it says, those things that we do for operating and securing support in our schools. For example, volunteers falls under operations. How we select and choose our volunteers. Our school calendar, which we'll be talking about tonight, deals with operations. The general school day, all of the things that are utilized to help support our children. And of course, public records, things that we utilize to make sure that the information pertaining to our students is kept sacred and secure. With that, unless there's one that any board member would like for me to go into detail on, I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Dr. Stokes. At this point, I'd entertain a motion for the approval of the policies for the 9,000, 7,000, and 8,000 series.
Mr. Chairman, I will make that motion, and with that, I will say that this has been a very exhaustive process. It seems like there are about 9 million policies, but they go through them thoroughly and explain them, and so because of that, I'll make a motion to approve.
May I have a second? Second. It's been moved and properly seconded that we had the motion to approve the policies 9,000, 7,000, 8,000 series. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, may we have roll call for approval, please?
Mr. Suggs?
Yes.
Dr. Woods?
Yes.
Attorney Irving?
That would be yes.
Dr. McLeod, yes. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
5 yes.
With a vote of 5 yes and 0 opposition, the motion carries. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Woods for chairing our policy committee.
Definitely.
Yes.
At this point, items 6.7 through 6.15 are up for approval from the board. We can do those with one consent motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve items 6.7 through 6.15.
May I have a second to the motion?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve items 6.7 through 6.15. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have roll call, please?
Mr. Suggs?
Yes.
Dr. Woods?
Mr. Chairman, I vote yes for 6.7 and 6.9 through 6.15, and I will abstain from 6.8.
Attorney Irving?
Yes.
Dr. McLeod, yes. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
We have 4 yes, 1 abstain to the numbers she stated. 6.8.
With a vote of 5 yes and 0 opposition for items 6.7, 6.9, 6.10, 6.11, 6.13, 6.14, and 6.15, the motion carries. With a vote of 5 yes and 1 abstention for item 6.8, the vote is 4, 0, and 1 abstention. Motion carries as well. I'd like to move on to item number 7 on our agenda. Information item, public comment message. Mr. Johnson.
Yes. Thank you. So, of course, at every school board meeting, we read a statement about public comments during the school board meeting. And so,
Go ahead now.
is that better? Oh, okay. So, that comment is actually covered by Indiana Code 5-14-1.5-3. And on July 1st of 2022, it was amended by House and Road Act 1130 and Senate and Road Act 83. And so basically what this does is it establishes guidelines that schools may use for public comment at board meetings. You can go to the next. Okay, so public comment must occur before the board takes final action on the topic. Some recommend moving the public comment period to early in the agenda, which is what we follow. Also determines who can speak. So school boards cannot limit who can speak, such as only residents or parents of enrolled students. However, boards can set reasonable time limits for comments. And then during virtual meetings, boards don't have to take comments at all. So rules governing public comment, and this is basically to maintain order. So school boards can take reasonable steps to maintain order, such as removing a willfully disruptive person. And so can set time limits, remove individuals who are disruptive, moving the public comment period to the beginning of the agenda, and then allowing public comment on any topic within the board's authority. And so in conclusion, the Indiana Open Door Law basically it ensures transparency, and it also guarantees public participation in school board meetings. But they just set some guidelines on how public comment should be handled during school board meetings, and we make sure that we follow the Indiana Open Door Law.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Board members, any questions or discussion?
No, thank you for that.
I'd like to move to item 7.2. Ms. Sikovich, the 25-26 and 26-27 proposed calendars.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Stokes, and community members. It is my pleasure to present to you this evening a draft of two separate drafts for the 25-26 school year. Dr. Stokes always operates with the integrity of collaboration. She welcomes feedback from community holders, from our teachers, from our staff members, from anybody who would be affected by any decision that could be made in the district. She's reached out to Ms. Dunham, who is our union president, to get feedback from our teachers. We also want feedback from our parents. So we have an opportunity for them to receive an email via our Skyward, which is our student information system. And that way our parents can receive, again, a questionnaire, which will allow for them to vote on either draft A or draft B. So please notice, draft A has the highlighted area for the Gary Community School Corporation right up on top. That's draft A. This is draft B. I want to call your attention on the next slide. The only differences between the two calendars are where spring break would be allocated. In draft A, spring break is not coinciding with the Easter vacation. In draft B, Easter vacation and spring break coincide. So again, both calendars are the same with the exception of when spring break would be, but we are seeking feedback from our parents and from our teachers and staff as well.
And I do want to say, even though we were going to share the 25-26 calendar as well as the 26-27, we're going to hold the 26-27 for a later date to share.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to move on to agenda item number 8. Item 8.1, Public and Community Relations Updates. Mrs. Whittington and Mrs. O'Brien.
Good evening, school board members again, Dr. Stokes and community members. My name is Chelsea Whittington and I am the newly appointed Chief of Public and Community Relations.
And I am Crystal O'Brien, your Public Relations Specialist.
Tonight we are so pleased to share with the board, Dr. Stokes, and the entire community how we communicate with our publics. On this first slide, please enjoy the introduction of our full team. To the immediate left of the slide, we have our FACE liaisons, which stands for Family and Community Engagement. And you can notice their smiling faces, for they are the face of our buildings when it comes to community engagement and interacting with our parents and getting resources. That team is led by none other than Mrs. Tennille Foster Millsap. Also listed on the slide outside of myself and Crystal is Jeffrey Smith, who is the station manager for WGBE 88.7 FM and host of Wake Up GI. I'd like to note that we are the only school district in Northwest Indiana that has ownership of an FM radio station that we use to inform our publics, to entertain, and to allow an additional platform for our viewing and listening audience to weigh in on issues of education and community.
So we serve a number of different stakeholders, and sometimes it can get confusing on how we communicate or who our audience is. So we did this graph so you understand that we do our best to serve each and every person as far as the information they want to receive, but we also have a lot of stakeholders at the table. Everyone from the parent to the teacher, to our media, to our community members, our families, our vendors that support us in the projects that we do, and our staff and teachers, of course. So and our students, which are the most important, and with all these different people needing the information at different times, and we all receive information different ways, we do our best as the communications department to be able to give you the information easily at your fingertips, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay. As a practitioner of public relations for more than 30 years, this is probably my most familiar area and my favorite, and that's using media to convey messages to our various communities and publics that we serve. I've also already mentioned our own radio station. However, we do regular outreach to all local radio stations, and we have a comprehensive list of more than 900 media contacts nationwide. We court our print media, many of whom are in our audience today, and we thank you for being here, and of course our broadcast media and any online media. We also make it a regular habit weekly to reach out to media via press releases so that they have the information of what's taking place in the district. They will probably agree with me in saying that they have received information about our upcoming Listen and Learn coming up on November 18th, which we will talk about later in this presentation. Slide.
But as you can see, because of our efforts, we are highlighted in everything from your traditional news stations. That's a picture of one of our students when we were featured on Fox TV in the morning. We've been featured on ABC for our libraries. And this year, we were the front page for the first day of school and all our efforts that we put forth. So this is my bread and butter. I am a very digital person, and so I am the one who redesigned the entire website for the Gary Community School Corporation this past spring. And with that effort, it did take a lot of people at the table. We had feedback from families and parents who were active in the district. I got feedback from different departments as well as administrators to make sure that, again, everyone had a voice in the direction we went. And so we are continuing to evolve and change things as we see updates, but sometimes it's a little hard to do it as one person, but we definitely acknowledge each and every person as they find something that may not work for them or that they need more accessibility. So if there are ever any issues, we do welcome comments and questions to our inbox, which is info@garycsc.k12.in.us. That can be found on the website. We also communicate with our families through social media. We have the district-wide page in both Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where we post announcements of things happening district-wide. And then each of our schools has a Facebook page dedicated to their families. So when it's information just specifically for their school, they're able to post as well. We started to do more Facebook Lives in the schools as well. We're helping everyone just kind of get adjusted to that, just so that as parents are not able to go to events during the day, they'll be able to see different programs and things happening in the school on a regular basis.
I'd like to add that as recent as tomorrow, we will be having a demonstration, professional development with our FACE liaisons on some protocols around going live, posting, so that we are succinct in brand across the board on all pages.
We also have platforms on YouTube. Our WSTG TV is hosted by our Westside Theater Guild. So a number of their performances and things that they do on the stage are located on that page. And we'll also talk about a special way that we communicate on there as well in a minute. We also do the radio streaming. So if you are ever not in Gary, it's okay. You can still tune in directly from our webpage. In the top right corner, you'll be able to click that link from your phone, from your desktop, and listen live to WGBE 88.7 FM, where we are even streaming right now our school board meeting. So you have access to that 24/7. The other piece that we do is an eco-friendly piece. I try to save a tree a year without doing a lot of printing, and so we found creative ways to make sure we can get timely information out to our families. So we do have our school marquees now at every building where we're able to communicate with our families that way. Just today we had that announcement that we were dismissing early, which we do every second Wednesday of the month, so our families know and remember, oh yeah, I have to remember to pick up Johnny a little early today. We also have our monthly newsletter that is district-wide, and we highlight the different things happening in our schools and a lot of information to both the community and our parents would appreciate.
You can actually subscribe to that e-newsletter by going to our website, garyschools.org. Click subscribe and enter your email address. We encourage you to do that, and we'll remind you again at the end of this presentation. eBlast. We also keep, when you subscribe to our newsletter, your email address is automatically added to our database, so that when we're sending out other information, you will also receive that as well. For example, the agenda for the school board meeting, the flyer for the upcoming Listen and Learn, performances taking place for Westside Theater Guild, you name it, we put it in our e-blast, so that again, emphasizing that individuals get their information different ways. We want to make sure that email is among one of those channels by which you will receive information from the district. It is our goal to over-communicate.
And there are some specific platforms that are specifically for our parents. So sometimes you may not know information as a community person just for safety reasons, but we do communicate with our parents on another layer of communication through our Skyward, which is our student information systems. So they can communicate directly with their teachers, their administrators, and other people in the district 24/7. You also can check your attendance for your scholar and know for upcoming dates and information. And we also send other communications. As we mentioned, the calendar voting will take place on there as well. Class Dojo is utilized in a lot of our buildings as well, and they communicate with their families, where the teachers have a lot of postings and things that they do with their students. And then, of course, we always have our YouTube channel able to replay these school board meetings and previous. So if you go to the school board tab on our website, all the videos are there, as well as if you just visit our YouTube channel, you can find any school board meeting that we have previously recorded.
This slide also highlights one of our favorite, well, it's one of my favorite ways that we communicate through television with Mark Spencer's team and WSTG, that's Westside Theater Guild TV. 4 years ago, we instituted a program titled A Day in the District. And to quote specifically from the script, A Day in the District is a program designed to help you, the viewer, stay connected to your Gary Community School Corporation. This program features not only school district employees, but our community partners. School board members have appeared on here, our superintendent, members of our leadership team, and even young people. The most recent episode dropped yesterday, and it featured our 2 middle school principals, and they were talking about the programming that is taking place and some upcoming performances coming to Gary Middle School. We invite you to go to our YouTube page to watch it back, or our social media channels. We have an amazing partnership with the City of Gary's media department. We share our files and they air them also on Gary's public access channel.
We also use our jumbotrons at sporting events to send out announcements. So as you probably have seen out on the football field and in our gym, we are able to communicate with our families and our stakeholders that way as well. And everywhere you go, I promise you'll see a face. You'll see someone from our FACE team participating in different events, from your church to at the grocery store. They're always there and they have their own apparel. Did you know that?
Yes,
they have a
that's
line. And so whenever you see a face, more than likely it's smiling and it's there to help you access any resources or information you may want to find out. We also do these amazing parent events, and they're the ones who kind of push that information out to our families. But we do have different things. They just had a literacy night at Bethune this week, and we do have some more upcoming where our families are able to come in, read with our scholars, understand the science of reading, and any other questions they may have as it relates to our curriculum.
I might add, when you see the FACE liaisons in the community, they are also equipped to enroll your child on site.
Yep. And you probably have seen our billboards in Yard Times right around the time it's time to enroll our scholars, but we do want to make sure that we just stay in the forefront of your mind as ways that, hey, what is the school district doing? How can I be connected and how can I learn more?
And so this is a summary of all the different venues and channels by which we communicate with you, but I would be remiss if I did not say that the best way of communication is word of mouth, us talking to you after meetings, us responding to your inquiries, and how you can stay connected with us. These are your action items or your homework, if you will, school board. If you have not already, to subscribe to our newsletter by going to the website, even though I've added all of you anyway. Follow us on social media. That would be Facebook, Instagram, and X, also known as Twitter. Share the content. That each and every one of us has our own separate network. So when you share, it opens up the news to your networks, letting everybody know all of the amazing things taking place in the Gary Community School Corporation. A prime example was when our scholars at Gary Middle School last year did the reenactment of Thriller, and we're probably at more than 30 to 40,000 views of that because people continue to share. So sharing is love. Attend our events, which we will talk about our next one momentarily. And by following us on these platforms, you learn about the events. There are so many taking place at all of our different buildings. The best way is for them to live on our website, our social media, our radio station, our TV station, and for you to watch playbacks on our YouTube channels. And last but not least, so beautifully designed, our website by Crystal O'Brien. Please visit. It is updated on a regular basis, and we invite you to stay connected.
Excellent.
Last but not least, we are so excited to announce our first and second installments of Dr. Stokes' Listen and Learn. This is your opportunity as community members to attend these sessions and share information and ask questions and hear from our leadership team as well as department heads. It's an opportunity for not only to fellowship, but for you to get familiar with those of us who are in places to represent and to serve children. The lay of the land for that day on Monday, November 18th is as follows. We will gather in the Westside Theater Guild's Little Theater at Westside Leadership Academy, 900 Jerry Street. The first portion of the program will feature introductions from the leadership team and a high-level overview of some of the accomplishments in their roles thus far and looking forward to other things that they seek to accomplish throughout the remainder of the school year. We will then recess into the hallway where tables will be set up of all of our various department heads, have questions about transportation, human resources, maybe applying for a position, you will have that opportunity. Want to talk finance? Meet our finance guru, Linda Z. Our team will be on deck so that you will listen
and then learn more about all of the things we are working to take our district to the next level. If you are unable to attend, never fear, your PR team is here. We will be broadcasting the session live and also doing live streams of interviews with attendees so that you can feel just like you were there. This same occurrence will happen again on Wednesday, December 18th from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. at Gary Middle School. The same format, just a different building. Dr. Stokes is setting the tone for us to communicate and over-communicate. And it is our goal to also partner with the city of Gary to take this show on the road to our various venues across the city with our community partners. So this is just the beginning, so you will have many more opportunities to listen and learn. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Item 8.2, Mr. Caldwell.
Good evening, members of the school board, Superintendent Stokes, and good evening to the community. I'm Cliff Caldwell. I currently serve as Director of Security Services for the Gary Community School Corporation. And this evening, I'm going to give the board a brief update on our safety and security. Okay, I'll start with, in 2022, we restructured the security services department. We switched from a reactive enforcement model, we switched to a proactive preventative model. And with that, we included collaboration, positive relationship building with our students and our staff. We connect with parents and community partners. And we really focus on our security staff collaborating with building administrators and staff around safety and security in our buildings. Talk a little bit about how we're currently structured. Right now, we're structured with 1 director, an assistant director, 3 school resource officers, 5 roving patrol officers, and 24 security guards. So with the school resource officers, we were able to, for the first time in the 2022-2023 school year, we were able for the first time in the history of the district to have school resource officers. Police officers that are specifically trained to do law enforcement and security in the school environment. With that, all of our school resource officers are certified through the National Association of School Resource Officers, and we were able to realize that by a $100,000 SSSG grant, which is a Safe School Security Grant, which is administered through the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, we received the full grant amount of $100,000 to support the program, which covers the salaries of our SROs. This school year, the max amount that we could receive was reduced to $81,000. And that was due to more charter schools being able to access those funds. So as more schools access those funds, the amount goes down. So we did receive the full amount this year, it's just lower. Okay, I'll talk a little bit now about what we've done to reduce some of our security costs. The left-hand side of the screen, you'll see Roosevelt High School. We were spending about $152,000 a year to secure the building, even though it's vacant. That was 2022, and the same was in year 2023. For the year 2024, we're on track to just spend over $36,000. With that, we were able to realize that savings by removing the private security firm. So we ended the contract that we had with the private security firm. We used to have 24/7 security guards on site, and it was a private company. We decided to, late in 2023, we decided to go with the company that we can at least steal shutters from, to put on all of the exterior doors, ground level windows. We reactivated all of the alarms, and we installed interior cameras and exterior cameras that we can monitor remotely. And with that, we're able to realize a cost savings of about $115,000. Roosevelt. On the right-hand side of the screen, we were operating a 24/7 security model. So our overnight and weekend patrol of our facilities and our buildings and our properties, that was also being done by a private security company to the tune of over $142,000 a year in 2022 and 2023. This year, 2024, we are on track to save the entire $142,560, and we've done that by switching to using our own people, our roving patrol officers. We're able to use ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funding to purchase vehicles, and they respond on an on-call basis. They can monitor our alarms now remotely through their the school district provided devices, and they can monitor our camera systems remotely, and they do respond on an on-call basis. So our capital projects from 2022 to current year 2024, we were able to use ESSER 2 funding, some ESSER 3 funding, and some referendum dollars. With our access control, we used a lot of that was 100% referendum dollars we used with access control. And with that is we switched to our ID access system. We're able to control the entry of where staff enter, where the students enter, where our visitors enter, and we're able to secure all of our exterior doors by putting access readers on all of our buildings. We upgraded our portable radios to a digital radio system, so now our roving patrol officers, as they patrol between buildings, they can communicate with buildings citywide. They can communicate with buildings citywide. They can talk to the school resource officers that are stationed inside of the buildings, and it helps make their response more efficient. We used ESSER $2 to remap all of our buildings. That's our evacuation routes. We redid all of our evacuation routes to account for new rooms that had been built in the west side that had not been mapped for evacuation when it was converted to a middle school some years ago. Those routes were not correct, so we remapped and installed new evacuation maps in all the classrooms. New locks and handles, which was a big project. We used ESSER 3 funding. Every classroom, every office in the district received new handles and locks. A lot of our classroom offices, you could not secure the doors as in 2022. As of now, all of our doors can be secured. Door prop sensors, so if any exterior door is propped open for a certain amount of time, an alert goes into our security service center, and it lets us know exactly what building and what door is propped open, and our rovers or our SROs that are in the building can respond to secure that door. Emergency arrest buttons in all of our classrooms and offices. Police response buttons are in all of our buildings, so we have a method of where we can communicate directly with the Lake County Emergency Communication Center. And number 8, we replaced all of our security vehicles, which was pretty big because when I took over in 2022, the average age of our security vehicles was about 20 years old. It cost us a lot of money every month to maintain them, and they weren't very safe. So we do have a new fleet of security SUVs. And then the weapon detection system for all of our secondary schools, which was something that was really beneficial to our students because they were asking us about coming up with something that didn't make them feel like they were coming into a jail or a prison environment. They did not like the old metal detectors. So as you can see on the picture here, we switched to pass-through weapon detection systems, and those only activate if they detect an object that they feel like security needs to do a secondary screening on. You can also see our camera trailers that were built right here in Gary, Indiana. Those are built right here in Gary. They were built customly for the Gary School Corporation, and they were donated by that company. We have 3 of them, and we can use them for all major events, outdoor events, or any large events like those. So some of our projects and outreach, like I said, we switched more to that engagement model, community engagement model. If you look there, we purchased a police K9 for the Gary Police Department. And with that, we did a survey amongst all of our students across the district. They got to name the K9, they named him Pancake. So Pancake visits our schools from time to time. He enjoys, as you can see, getting his belly rubbed. He enjoys interacting with the students. And he's also been beneficial. We had a student elope from one of our elementary schools or secondary schools, special needs student. He's been able to help us locate the student very quickly. And down there at the bottom left, we see the tablecloth. That's the face liaisons. They're there with one of our SROs. Anytime our face liaisons go out in the community to register students or do community events, we always send the school resource officer with them now to be information for parents. They can ask questions about safety and security. They can engage with students and interact with the community. And that's our staff. That photo represents our staff from across every division: elementary, preschool, secondary, our road and patrol officers, our school resource officers. Because out of all the equipment I mentioned, all the upgrades, you can't replace the human capital of people. And we invest in our people because if we invest in them, we believe that they can better serve our students. And this is just a way you can contact us, Security Services. We ask that if you see something, say something. Like Dr. Stokes said, it takes all of us. And definitely it's true with safety and security. You can report anonymous information. If you want to remain anonymous, you can do it right there through the website. If you go to the school district website, under the Safety and Security tab, you can report confidential information and remain anonymous. Our phone number is listed there too, where you can call us directly in our Security Service Center. Any questions? Thank you.
Item number 9 on our agenda, individual board member reports or communications. Let's open the floor for the board members to speak.
Mr. Chair, congratulations to all of the veterans who served to protect our nation. Kudos to Williams, Banneker, McCullough for the students who gave their expressions on the brain. The brain is 3 pounds, I think she said. And then the one child said it holds a lot of memory, even old memory. That was so cute. The Urban League is going to open up their scholarships sooner than later this year because we want students to begin working on their essay about who they are. They just need to say, who am I? And write that down, because when they're asking for recommendation letters, they need to share that with Dr. Woods or Mr. Johnson to give a little bit of who they are. Even though Mr. Johnson may have taught them in the 9th grade or the 10th grade, he may need some extra information. And we also want to encourage students to volunteer during this period. There's going, community service is something that is recommended or asked for. It may even be in the curriculum that they need to have some type of community service. So during Thanksgiving, there's a lot of giveaways going on. Students can volunteer at nursing homes, at their churches, so that they can make sure to have that volunteerism letter when they go to ask for it. Roosevelt, I'm excited about what's about to happen at Roosevelt School. It's really good. That is a historical site in our community. We're known all over the world. Even though I'm not a Roosevelt graduate, I honor those who did graduate from Roosevelt, because that is our school and it is in our city. So I'm happy to know what's going on. Dr. Stokes, thank you for your leadership. We've received a lot of information, your chiefs and all that you're doing. You've been very transparent. I know there's a lot of other things that may go on, but we've received an abundance of information tonight. Thank you, Ms. Whittington, your team, Crystal, and the beautiful website that you have. I probably need some mentoring and tutoring on how to get through it. So hopefully you all stand ready, not just for me, but for the parents and the community. And I believe that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Dr.
Mr. Chair,
yes,
one I would like to thank Dr. Stokes and her team. Thank Dr. Stokes and her team. Mr. Caldwell, thank you for saving us some money. That was awesome. Definitely appreciate that. Mrs. Winton, thank you for letting us know how everyone communicates. One thing I would like to say that on the website, that's where people can go to find job postings. Like your job was posted there. So, so you can go there, find job postings, and to apply for jobs. And so, thank you for all of that information, and thank you for keeping us informed.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll say ditto to everything that has been said prior to this.
Thank you. With a heavy heart, the board would like to recognize the passing of Willie E. Horn Sr. Mr. Horn was born on October 23rd, 1942 at West Bay, Florida, and relocated to Gary, Indiana at a young age. He graduated from Roosevelt High School in 1960 and immediately enlisted in the U.S. Army, where he served as a member of the Army National Band. And after receiving an honorable discharge, Mr. Horn attended and graduated from Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri. He then returned to Gary and served 40 years in the Gary Community School Corporation. His positions included Towson Middle School Band Director, Edison Middle School Assistant Principal, Westside High School Assistant Principal, Ambridge Alternative Middle School Principal, and Principal of Emerson School of Visual and Performing Arts. After battling a long illness, Mr. Horn peacefully transitioned on October 26, 2024. Visitation will be Friday, November 24th, from noon to 8 p.m. with family hour between 6 and 8 p.m. At the Guy and Allen Chapel. Funeral services will be on November 23rd, 11 a.m. at St. John Baptist Church. Thank you for your service, Mr. Horn. I'd like to move to item number 10 on our agenda, Dr. Stokes.
Thank you so much. So as always, I want to share what we call matters of corporation interest. And if we can go to our next slide. I do have Ms. Biskovich. She will share some information about something that's required. So this is a public notice. Please listen up.
Thank you, Dr. Stokes. I'm going to get your mic too. Thank you, Dr. Stokes. And board members and community at large, I want to be able to discuss a public request for information to give us some feedback regarding the EdFlex waiver. The EdFlex waiver provides an opportunity for schools to waive certain education requirements that might inhibit our success with being able to move forward with how we support our kiddos and how they learn. Specifically, our paraprofessionals have a requirement according to federal guidelines to either have passed the Parapro test or to have 2 years of college experience or 48 credit hours. We do have a large number of paraprofessionals who have a long history of supporting students within our classrooms that this would inhibit them from being able to continue to support our kiddos. So by applying for this waiver, as long as we have other opportunities for them to learn and grow and training that they've received, then they can continue to work with our students. The waiver requires that we get feedback from the community, so we have a piece of paper here that members of the community can use to provide that feedback, but we also have it posted on our website for anybody in the community at large to give feedback regarding our request for this waiver.
Thank you so much. And so remember, we do need your feedback, and it is important because as she shared, while we always want student staff alike to learn and grow, we do have what we call workplace experience. So we've got staff members who've been supporting for many, many years, and we provide professional development for them. However, if they do not meet these minimum requirements, which some of them don't, we will not be able to employ them in Gary Community Schools unless we're able to get this waiver. So I do want you to hear what we're saying. It's very important. Please give your feedback. So next I want to talk about the fact that we heard you. You asked us about giving you a tutorial on our website about how to access our new board docs. So we are going to have our fearless leader, Mr. King. He's going to share with you the tutorial that we put on the website for you to be able to utilize.
Thank you, Dr. Stokes. Good evening, school board, Dr. Stokes, and community. Like Dr. Stokes said, I'll be taking you through the new tutorial that is available online to everybody. This is basically a visual representation of all the presentations I've given so far. So as you can see, it gives you a step-by-step play of what you need to do, such as go to the school board page, scroll all the way down, and then it goes right there to the board docs and policies again. Once you click on it, it takes you over to the Board Docs platform, and then from there, it shows you exactly where to go to access the welcome page as well as the meetings page. It shows you exactly where you can access them right over on the left-hand rail, and then it also shows you how it comes over to the right-hand side where you can view the agenda, download as a PDF, or you can print the agenda. I do want to make a quick note that meeting minutes and agendas are not available immediately. So, for example, this meeting will not be up for view tonight. There is a process where we have to review and then place on the website. So please give us a small grace period as we do get those updated weekly.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
And for clarity, what he's saying is the minutes tonight have to be reviewed and board approved. So they wouldn't be board approved until the next board meeting, which is why he's saying that there will be that delay. And then we need, Mrs. Patton would need just a few days after they're reviewed and approved to get them up. So that only pertains to the minutes. Thank you so much for all of that. With that, if we can move on to then the next slide. We always like to just give you a version of our draft agenda. I just want to highlight a couple things. One of the things that we are planning, and Ms. Patton, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that we are planning is at our next board meeting, which is in December, because we only have this November meeting for this month because of the Thanksgiving break. So in December, we also only have one board meeting because of the winter holiday break. But at the next board meeting, we do plan to have our library representative, one of our library reps, come and share about how Gary Community Schools is being supported via the library services. We also will have information about STEM certification. We want to talk about that a little bit. And those are just some of the things that I want to highlight. Other things are pretty much routine things that we do. So I did want to share that information so that you can be prepared if you so choose. With that, I just want to say this is our only meeting, and thank you all so much, and I hope that you all have a happy Thanksgiving break. Oh, I missed one thing. I'm sorry. Over the Thanksgiving break, don't forget about the classic, the Lakeshore Classic event that's going on. Come out and enjoy basketball and enjoy some of your colleagues and some of those Roosevelt friends that you love to talk about. So come out.
Thank you, Dr. Stokes. At this time, I'll entertain a motion from the board to adjourn.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your attendance.